जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी जय जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधवा जय कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभा जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभा जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभा जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी जय यशोदनंदन जय व्रज जन रंजन 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 जय यमुना तीरवनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी 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 जय राधा माधवा 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 जय कुंज बिहारी श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद जय श्री कृष्ण प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Govinda Jai Jai, Gopal Jai Jai, Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jai Jai, Govinda Jai Jai, Gopal Jai Jai, Radha Ramana Hari, He Govinda Jai Jai, Gopal Jai Jai, Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jai Jai, Govinda Jai Jai, Gopal Jai Jai, Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jai, Govinda Jai Jai, Gopal Jai Jai, Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jai Jai, Govinda Jai Jai, Gopal Jai Jai, Radha Ramana Hari Govinda Jai, Jaya Gauranita, Jaya Gauranita, Jaya Gauranita, Jaya Gauranita, Gauranita, Jaya 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 Gauranita, Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath, Jai Baladeva, Jai Subhadra, Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath, Jai Baladeva, Jai Subhadra, Jai Jagannath Swami, Jai Jagannath, Jai Baladeva, Jai Subhadra, Jai Jagannath Swami, Jai Baladeva, Jai Subhadra, Jai Jagannath Swami, Jai Jagannath, Jai Baladeva, Jai Subhadra, Jai Jagannath Swami, Jai Jagannath, Jai Baladeva, Jai Subhadra, Jagannath Swami, Nayana Patagami, Nayana Patagami, Bhavato me, Jagannath Swami, Nayana Patagami, Nayana Patagami, Bhavato me, Jaya Radha, Vallabha Radha, वल्लभ श्री राधे जय राधा वल्लभ हरे जय राधा वल्लभ श्री राधे जय राधा वल्लभ श्री राधे जय राधे जय राधे जय राधे जय श्री राधे जय राधे जय राधे जय हरे जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय नरसिंह जय प्रहलाद नरसिंह जय प्रहलाद नरसिंह जय प्रहलाद नरसिंह जय प्रहलाद नरसिंह प्रहलाद नरसिंह जय प्रहलाद नरसिंह जय प्रहलाद नरसिंह जय जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा जय प्रभुपदा पदा प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव जय जय गुरुदेव गुरुदेव जय जय गुरुदेव श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय हरे कृष्णा वेलकम बैक हरे कृष्णा ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय 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 ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा माह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासति गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपादमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरं नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् शृण्वतं स्वाकथा कृष्णा पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तनो हृदयन्तस्थो हि अभद्राणि विधुनोति सुहृत्सतां नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी Reading from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 7, chapter number 2, the title of the chapter, Hiranyakasipu, King of the Demons, text number 28. Usinareshu Abhu Raja Suyagnya Iti Vishruta Sapatne Nihato Yuddhe Nyataya Tam Upasata Ushinara Swabutraja Ushinara Swabutraja Suyagnya iti Vishrutaha Suyagnya iti Vishrutaha Sapatne nihato yuddhe Sapatne nihato yuddhe Jnatayastam upasate Jnatayasyam ta upasate Jnatayasyam upasata Jnatayasyam upasata Ushinarasva Budraja Suyagya iti Vishruta Sapatne nihato yuddhe Jnatayastam upasata Ushinavasa Budraja Suyagya iti Visrutaha Sapatne nihato yuddhe Jnatayastam upasata Ushinarasva Budraja Suyagya iti Vishruta Sapatne nihato yuddhe Jnatayastam upasata Ushinarasva Budraja Suyagya iti Vishruta Sapatne nihato yuddhe Jnatayastam upasata Sushinarasva Budraja Suyagya iti Vishruta Sapatne nihato yuddhe Jnanasyam upasata Mataji Hare Krishna Prabhu Suyagya iti Vishruta Sapatne nihato yuddhe Jnatayastam upasata Ushinarasva Budraja Suyagya iti Vishruta Sapatne nihato yuddhe Jnatayastam upasata Ushinarasva Budraja Suyagya iti Vishruta Sapatne nihato yuddhe Jnatayastam upasata Ushinarasva Budraja Suyagya iti Vishruta Sapatne nihato yuddhe Jnatayastam tam upasata. Usinareshu. In the state known as Usinara. Abhut. There was Raja, a king. Suyajna. Iti. Thus. Vishruta. Celebrated. Sapatnai. By enemies. Nihataha. Killed. Yuddhe. In war. Jnatavya. The kinsman. Tam. Him. Upasata. Sat around. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In the state known as Usinara, there was a celebrated king named Suyajna. When the king was killed in the battle by his enemies, his kinsmen sat down around the dead body and began to lament the death of their friend. There is no purport. There is no purport for a few verses, so I will continue to read that. This is text number 29 to 31, so we will read that. Visirna ratna kavacham vibhras bhavana srijam sara nirbhinna hridayam sayanam asrug avilam prakirna kesham davatstakam kavatsam rabhasa dachadam rajakunta mukam bhojam chinnayuda bhujam mrude usirnaindram vidihina tatakritam patim mahishaya prasamikshaya dukkitaha hatahasma natheti karair uro brisham Gyantayo muhustat padayor upapadan. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. His golden, bejeweled armor smashed, his ornaments and garlands fallen from their places, his hair scattered and his eyes lusterless. The slain king lay on the battlefield, his entire body smeared with blood, his heart pierced by the arrows of the enemy. When he died, he had wanted to show his prowess, and thus he had bitten his lips, and his teeth remained in that position. His beautiful lotus-like face was now black and covered with dust from the battlefield. His arms with his sword and other weapons were cut and broken. When the queens of the king of Usinara saw their husband lying in that position, they began crying, "O Lord, now that you have been killed, we also have been killed." Repeating these words again and again, they fell down, pounding their breast at the feet of the dead king. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. As stated here, Rabhasa Dashta Dachadam. The dead king, while fighting in anger, bit his lips to show his prowess. But nonetheless, he was killed by the providence, Vidina. This proves that we are controlled by higher authorities. Our personal power or endeavor is not always supreme. We must therefore accept the position offered to us by the order of the Supreme. Text number 32. As the queens loudly cried, their tears glided down their breasts, becoming reddened by kumkum powder, and fell upon the lotus feet of their husband. Their hair became disarrayed, their ornaments fell, and in a way that evoked sympathy from the hearts of others, the queens began lamenting their husband's death. O Lord, you have now been removed by cruel providence to a state beyond our sight. You had previously sustained the livelihood of the inhabitants of Usinara, and thus they were happy, but your condition now is the cause of their unhappiness. O king, O hero, you are a very grateful husband and the most sincere friend of all of us. How shall we exist without you, O hero? Wherever you are going, please direct us there so that we may follow in your footsteps and engage again in your service. Let us go along with you. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Formerly, a Kshatriya king was generally the husband of many wives. And after the death of the king, especially in the battlefield, all the queens would agree to accept Saha Marana, dying with the husband who was their life. When Pandu Maharaj, the father of the Pandavas, died, his two wives, namely the mother of Yudhishthir, Bhima and Arjuna, and the mother of Nakula and Sakadeva, were both ready to die in the fire with their husband. Later, after a compromise was arranged, Kunti stayed alive to care for the little children, and the other wife, Madri, was allowed to die with her husband. The system of Sahamarana continued in India even until the time of British rule, but later it was discouraged since the attitude of wives gradually changed with the advancement of Kali Yuga. Thus, the system of Sahamarana has practically been abolished. Nevertheless, within the past 50 years, I have seen the wife of a medical practitioner voluntarily accept death immediately when her husband died. Both the husband and wife were taken in procession in the mourning cart. Such intense love of a chaste wife for her husband is a special case. So it's a very interesting topic because it can cause a lot of arguments and a lot of back and forth, but still our authority, Prabhupada has given verdict, okay, so we stick to Prabhupada's verdict actually. That is what good for us and good for everyone actually. So who is speaking this sloka? Anyone, any idea? What is happening? Just background? Any idea? You should know that. You are a regular Bhagavatam class visitor. What is happening? Huh? Yes. Yeah, that you are going to the very beginning. That's good actually. Yeah. So in this particular context, what is happening? Hiranyakasipu is talking to family member. Yes. Hiranyakasipu, actually if you read these passages without who is speaking, you will be thinking some great personality like some self-realized yogi or jnani speaking. Na? The body, this, that, all these different. Because it's interesting, even though Hiranyakasipu was a demon, but his philosophy is perfect actually. Very perfect philosophy. He didn't muck around. He just very clearly said the body, soul, everything is happening by the supreme will. All these things he understood. But only thing is, he didn't take that position because he can't take that position of surrendering to Krishna. Because if he surrenders to Krishna, then how Krishna will fulfill his desire for fighting actually. So Hiranyakasipu not surrendering is not a problem. Us surrendering is a problem. Us not surrendering, that is a problem actually. Because Hiranyakasipu is not meant to surrender at that point in time. Because if Hiranyakasipu surrenders, then the whole plot is lost actually. Lord wanted to fight. And Lord wanted to have a good fight with the... so that's why Hiranyakasipu is still Ravana, Kumbhakarna and Shishupala, Dantavakra. They were not supposed to surrender. Because if they surrender, the whole thing is climax, anti-climax actually. So they wanted to, because they had this situation, they had to, Lord wanted to fight. He had that, sometimes you have a fighting spirit, like a... Sometimes people have like this, especially in North India, they say, now is the time for eating pakoda, like the pakoda eating mood. Same way, fighting mood has come in, so somebody has to fulfill that desire. So here we find this when that Hiranyakasipu, he sees all the family members are in a morose mood. So then he is trying to give them a philosophy, trying to give them the understanding so that they can relate with that, they can cope with this situation. And then after that, immediately he picks up his other philosophy, all gone. So now I am going to kill Vishnu. So this is the point he is, because this is what the difficulties will come in the life and philosophy will help. But then after that, you have to take shelter of Krishna. Because that is the point. Because if difficulties will come, sometimes they take shelter of Krishna or they take shelter of something, some intoxication, something they will drink, something they will eat, and to forget the difficulty. So here this Hiranyakasipu, in this sloka, he was
talking about this, and then immediately he is quoting also. See, he is also quoting. He is quoting authority. So it's not, nothing is happens. He is quoting the authority in the Itihasa. He is talking about Itihasa, and so here in the state known as Ushinara, there was a celebrated king named Suigna. When the king was killed in the battle by his enemies, his kinsmen sat down around the dead body and began to lament the death of their friend. So this is nothing abnormal actually. So this is like if somebody dies in the family and everybody is sitting around and then lamenting, and it's not like uncommon actually, it's a common. But Shastra says, that's another place also Srila Prabhupada mentioned, there is some lamentation will be there. We have hearts, like we are senses, we have emotions, all these things are there. We are not a dull stone, like something happens. No, you can't do that because we have but there will be kinchit, there is a little, one Bhagavatam says, a little bit of a lamentation will be there. So you should not think that, this fellow is lamenting, what did you read in Bhagavad Gita, what did you, no, we don't get on this case. No, there will be some lamentation will be there. But that lamentation should not continue forever. That is what here is mentioned. So here, not here it's mentioned, Prabhupada mentions elsewhere. So here, there is some lamentation is there. So began to lament death of their friend. So this is Hiranyakashipu, and we have a very vast examples actually. In Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, there are so many times, so many people passed away, and then how people lamented, that is also there. Can anyone think of any lamentation? Sometimes, especially somebody passed away and then some lamentation happens. Chitraketu, I was also thinking. I think we are thinking alike actually. Chitraketu Maharaj's lamentation. Anybody else's lamentation? Very famous lamentation. Yes? I thought you were just... Yeah? Yeah, Satyajit, yeah, that's there. And also one famous thing is Prithu Maharaj, when he went for Vaikuntha, when passed away or left his body, at that time Archi, that is Prabhupada spends a lot of time in explaining about all these things. And their positions are different. Archi, her position is different, and here the queen's position is different. And also I can think of famous example like Mandodari. When Ravana passed away, Mandodari's lamentation. Mandodari is not an ordinary person actually. We may think Rakshasa's wife. No, Mandodari is a very learned person also. Mandodari lamented, my Lord, yes, we are bereaved, but you did the wrong thing. Because she spoke the philosophy. She spoke the philosophy, yes, this is not right, what you have done. You have Jagan Mata, you kept Mother Sita here, and your obstinacy, because of your obstinacy of not returning Mother Sita, now you have faced this situation. All these things she explained actually. So we have a great examples to look at actually. This is not like we are alone, left alone, what to do, no. The Shastra is there, sadhus are there, Srila Prabhupada's purports are there. So much is there actually. So it is only us how much advantage we want to take out of all these things. So this is so Srila Prabhupada continues in the next translation. There's a lot of descriptions are there. His golden bedecked armament, because naturally whatever happens in the war, so this king Suyagya was obviously very courageous person. That's why he was just like when we are in anger, this is like biting this thing teeth, and then he just wants to kill the enemies. So this is the Kshatriya spirit actually. This is unheard of now. And where is Kshatriya? There is no Kshatriya here actually. There is no Kshatriya. Because Kshatriya is all sitting in the bulletproof chamber somewhere and then giving orders, do this, do that, do this. Kshatriya does not have seen any of the generals. They may not have seen any war also. They might not have seen any war. That also, war also, most of the time it's all like mechanized. They just drop something, or do something, put some weapon. This is not war actually. This is not. War means the king will be the first person. King will be the first person to fight, and here the king will be the last person sitting in the bulletproof chamber. Nothing happens to him, and then all the poor soldiers, they get killed actually. But this is the Kshatriya spirit. Yes, and in the Kshatriya spirit, Prabhupada says here, the king while fighting in anger, bit his lips to show his prowess. So he was very... we don't know what was the background in the past time, but he was very angry and he was to retaliate, wants to kill the enemies. Nonetheless, he was killed by providence. This proves that we are controlled by higher authorities. Our personal power or endeavor is not always supreme. So this is, most of the time we think like that. Yeah, I have power, I have this, I have that, I can do that, but sometimes it doesn't happen. I have all the power, I have all the resources, everything at my disposal, still I can't do that. So then what is preventing? What is happening? So that we have to, this is the time for thinking that also. So in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna explains actually in the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So I'll just read, today there will be a little bit of reading only. 18th chapter, text number 13. पंचैतानि महाबाहो कारणानि निबोध मे सांख्ये कृतानि प्रोक्तानि सिद्धये सर्वकर्मणाम्. O mighty armed Arjuna, according to the Vedanta, there are 5 causes for accomplishment of all action. Now learn of these from me. So Lord Krishna is explaining to Arjuna, there are 5 factors which have to be taken into consideration. Sometimes we take only one consideration, me. That is the only factor we consider. Me, I am the doer. Me. That is the only thing. But here Krishna is saying something completely different. Adhishtanam tata karta karanam cha pratak vidam vividascha pratak chesta daivam saivatra panchamam. The place of action, the body, the performer, the various senses, the many different kinds of endeavor, and ultimately the super soul, these are the 5 factors of action. So this we have to understand. If we don't understand this, then we will always think, we are the doer, we are the doer, we are the doer. But Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport, the word adhishtanam refers to the body. The soul within the body acting to bring about the results of activity and is therefore known as karta, the doer. That soul is the knower and the doer is stated in the Shruti. So Prabhupada quotes this. The instruments of actions are the senses, and by the senses the soul acts in various ways. For each and every action there is a different endeavor, but all one's activities depend on the will of the super soul, who is situated within the heart as a friend. So that is a super soul is situated. He is the cause. He is giving the intelligence. He is giving the knowledge. He is giving the forgetfulness so the living entity can fulfill its desires. So that's why we can't just see only one. So Prabhupada says, Arjuna thinking, I am not going to fight, is just like because of false ego. Because of false ego, Arjuna is thinking, I am not going to fight. But Krishna is saying, no, we are thinking, but there are 5 factors are there. All these factors work. Then, and finally, the final sanction by the super soul, that is there. If that happens, then if the sanction of the super soul and super soul is guiding you, then there is no problem. So that, and he continues here, whatever right or wrong action a man performs by body, mind or speech is caused by these 5 factors. Therefore, one who thinks himself the only doer, not considering the 5 factors, is certainly not very intelligent and cannot see things as they are. We have to see, whenever, sometimes we take credit, especially when credit comes, we take the credit. When something goes up, immediately we say, God screwed up, actually. When something goes wrong, we say, God screwed up. When something goes good, you never gave any credit to God. Because and when something goes wrong, immediately you blame the God. God screwed up, or nature screwed up, or something screwed up. So that's our pass the buck, like we just do that. But here, this is not the case. We have 5 factors we have to take into consideration. So here, therefore, Prabhupada says, we must therefore accept the position offered to us by the order of the Supreme. When the Supreme is ordering something, then we act upon that. There is no sinful activities. Yagyartat karmanon anyatra lokoyam karma bandhanat tadartam karma kaunteya mukta sangha samachara. When you act for Krishna's satisfaction, Lord Vishnu's satisfaction, there is no reaction. When we act my satisfaction, then I have to go through the same karma bandhana. But when I act activities are only for the satisfaction of Lord, then there is no reaction for that. So Prabhupada continues that, and he says in the purport, As the translation, as the queens loudly cried, the tears glided down their breasts, becoming red, and their hair became disarrayed, and then she is lamenting their husband's death. So, O Lord, you have now been removed by cruel providence to a state beyond our sight. You had previously sustained the livelihood of inhabitants of Ushinara, and thus they were happy, but your condition now is the cause of their unhappiness. So this is correct. This is because the king is called Naradeva. Naradeva is like a representative of the Lord in the earth. He looks after the citizens and looking after all their well-being, spiritual and material well-being. So that way, if the king passes away, and then the wives and also the citizens of the state, they also feel very sad. There's nothing wrong in that. But this is a nice contrast here, because how just this we were reading this, and I also was reading how when Prithu Maharaj passed away, how was the scene there. In Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, 4th canto, chapter 23, Maharaj Prithu's going back home. So he says, when Queen Archi saw that her husband, who had been so merciful to her and the earth, no longer showed symptom of life, she lamented for a little while and then built a fiery pyre on top of a hill and placed the body of her husband on it. So this is see here, you see one type of queens. They are also queens only, not ordinary people. And here there is a much more advanced queen. She is saying, after seeing all the life symptoms of her husband stop, queen lamented for a while. The word kinchit means for a little while. The queen was completely aware that her husband was not dead, although the symptoms of life, action, intelligence, and sense perception had ceased. When a living entity transfers from one body to another, a process generally known as death, a sane man does not lament, for he knows that the living entity is not dead, but is simply transferred from one body to another. The queen should have been afraid of being alone in the forest with the body of her husband, but since she was a great wife of great personality, she lamented for a while, but immediately understood that she had many duties to perform. So this is what we all have to learn, actually. So Queen Archi, Prithu Maharaj, they have great personality. They have gone back to Vaikuntha. But this is teaching us a lesson. In our life also, we may encounter these type of things. It's not that, okay, everything will be rosy, everything will be wonderful, like always. No, there will be some situations will be there. There will be some calamity will be there, some kind of catastrophe may be there. We know that we have gone through few things like that. So we have to understand, yes, this, instead of wasting her time in lamentation, she immediately prepared a fiery pyre on the top of a hill and then placed the body of her husband on it to be burned. So this is how the very intelligent queen, she is doing. After this, the queen executed the necessary funerary functions and offered oblations of water. After bathing in the river, she offered obeisances to various demigods situated in the sky in the different planetary systems. She then circumambulated the fire, and while thinking of the lotus feet of her husband, entered its flames. So here Prabhupada gives a very wonderful purport here. The entrance of a chaste wife into the flames of the pyre of her dead husband is known as Saga Gamana, which means Saha Marana is here is Saha Gamana, which means dying with the husband. This system of Saha Gamana had been practiced in Vedic civilization from time immemorial. Even after the British period in India, this practice was rigidly observed, but soon it degraded to the point that even when the wife was not strong enough to enter the fire, her dead husband, the relatives would force her to enter. So this is the problem. When the point came, so it became a ritual, because previously the husband and wife, they lived together, they loved each other, not in a material sense, because they just had, because it's not like a husband and wife relationship is not just like only for begetting children, this and that. That's not the only thing, actually. This is like Varnashrama Dharma. Grahastha Ashram is also one of the ashram. If you look at Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastime, there are few sannyasis, few brahmacharis, but many of them are grahasthas only. Many grahasthas were there. So grahasthashram is not one to be condemned, as long as again there is a but there, as long as there is a cultivation of Krishna consciousness. There is because Srila Prabhupada says in the purport, this household life is not to be condemned, as long as we can use it in the service of Krishna. As long as we can remember Krishna, we can help each other. That is the purpose. That is the whole purpose of Varnashrama Dharma. That is the whole purpose of Grahastha Ashram also. So naturally, the husband and wife lives together maybe 30, 40. Actually, even in this country, 40, 50 years living together is very common actually. So it's like now only things are deteriorating, like very easily deteriorating. But normally here, they live, say, people, husband, wife living together, and that way there will be so much attachment will be there, so much of give and take will be there. So the wife is not able to tolerate living without the husband. That is why she voluntarily enters the funeral pyre. Not just like oh yeah, now what to do now, okay, now I have to end, my husband has gone now. No, she actually, for her, the tolerating living without the husband is more difficult than, it's not difficult. She's like entering into the fire is okay for her, but she can't tolerate living without the husband. So that we can only imagine actually. Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, this is like the whole Yugaitam nimishena chakshusha pravshaitam sunyaitam jagat sarvam govinda virahename. That actually, ideally, finally we have to get for the Govinda viraha. But at least like this is because they are having that mood. Why that mood? Because they have lived together, they have practiced. And we don't have to remember, oh, we went all to that movie with that restaurant. That's nothing to be lamented about all of that. Actually, sometimes the people lament, oh, we went there, we went here. That is basically lamentation should be there because we have been practicing together. We have been practicing remembering the Lord, performing devotional service. Then that lamentation is worth. Otherwise, just lamenting because we went there, we roamed around there, we looked around there, we went to that park. That is nothing to be, that everybody does that actually. So this is what the point here, where Srila Prabhupada makes here. This is the practice and even when the wife was not strong enough to enter the fire of her dead husband, the relatives would force her to enter. Thus, this practice had to be stopped. But even today, there are still some solitary cases where a wife will voluntarily enter the fire and die with her husband. Even after 1940, we personally knew of a chaste wife who died in this way. So that is what Srila Prabhupada refers here, in this purport. So Prabhupada says here, here, I have seen, nevertheless, within the past 50 years, I have seen the wife of a medical practitioner voluntarily accept death immediately when her husband died. Both the husband and wife are taken in procession in the mourning cart. Such intense love of a chaste wife or husband is a special case. So Srila Prabhupada is like, I was just meditating. This is Prabhupada's purports are like so relief actually, great relief for us, especially a few days before there was a Prabhupada quote, like the desert, the oasis. There was a, this is like we are in a material world, it's like a desert actually. This is not like it is a desert only. And here, and this there is a oasis there, then that will be we can so much of. So whenever we take Srila Prabhupada's books and read this 1, 2, 3, whatever, read this, gives so much of solace actually. It gives so much of relief from all these problems. So this is why we had to, Prabhupada struggled to write all these things, took all the pains to write, translate. So at least we don't have to write the purports and other things. We have to only read only. We have to just read and understand and assimilate and then try to explain this to others. And if they take it. So this is what the situation is. And Srila Prabhupada and it's interesting, in this here, after observing this brave act performed by the chaste wife Archi, the wife of the great king Prithu, many thousands of the wives of the demigods, along with their husbands, offered prayers to the queen, for they were much satisfied, very much satisfied. And Prabhupada says, at that time, demigods were situated on the top of the Mandara hill. All their wives began to shower flowers on the funeral pyre and began to talk amongst themselves as follows. The wives of the demigods said, all glories to Queen Archi. we can see that this queen of the great king Prithu, the emperor of all kings of the world, has served her husband with mind, speech and body, exactly as the goddess of fortune serves the supreme personality of Godhead, Yajnesha or Vishnu. The wives of the demigods continued, just see how this chaste lady, Archi, by dint of her inconceivable pious activities, is still following her husband upward as far as we can see. So this is the demigods, they could see how Maharani Archi, Queen Archi, is also, he is proceeding. Prithu Maharaj is proceeding in the Vaikuntha aeroplane, and same way Archi also is going in another airplane, and they could see. They are seeing that the demigods, they are in the higher planetary system, and then plane, and all, here also we see the planes are going, after some time we are not seeing anything, it goes into the, but they could see that they are going high. Even they are crossing the Brahmaloka, they are going up. So that is the position of the chastity of this wife actually. Chastity of the wife is like, she can control things. She can control by just strictly following. So we have a great example, great examples in our Shastra. Shastra gives so many examples how Gandhari, they are great personalities. Kunti Maharani, Srila Prabhupada refers to Kunti Maharani here in this purport, where Prabhupada mentions that where she's there was after some adjustment, one second. Here, see here, when Pandu Maharaj, the father of Pandavas, died, his two wives, namely Kunti Maharani and Madri. So then after some compromise, because the child has to be looked after. The children have to be looked after. Somebody has to look after children. It's not like, I am also going to enter, you also going to enter. No, it doesn't. Then who is going to look after? So that is not, so that's why we have a consultation, we have a situation where we can refer to the higher authorities. So then they said, okay, no, Madri decided, she has to enter, and then Queen Kunti has to. That is another big austerity. Sometimes, now I have been saved. Like Kunti never thought like, now, I don't have to enter the fire, I am saved now. No, Kunti was lamenting also. Madri was very fortunate. She could enter the fire, but I had to fulfill, because this is the mood. But that's why Srila Prabhupada says, when that mood has gone, when the wife thinks that, why should I enter the fire? You go. This is not This is not like people are not waiting till death also. Even before only, I am just walking away. Again, I am not going to discuss further, otherwise people will throw stones at me actually. Because people before that only they walk away. Prabhupada says, like only death is a separation. Death only can separate us. That is the vow we take at the time of marriage. Death only will separate. Otherwise, there is no separation. So this is so here Srila Prabhupada explains that, and this both ready to die. After a compromise, where Kunti Devi stayed to alive in care of little children, and the other wife Madri was allowed with her husband. Then Prabhupada talks about Saha Marana, Saha Gamana. So all these things we have to understand in context with the Shastra. That is why Krishna, in the 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, today, we have a lot of back and forth between chapters and this and that, because we have to So how we have to do our life. And Prabhupada says the 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, last two slokas is very important slokas. Yasastra vidim utsrujya vartate kamakarata na siddhim avapnoti na sukam na param gatim. He who discards scriptural injunction and acts according to his own whims attains neither perfection nor happiness nor the supreme destination. So Prabhupada says here, as described before, the Shastra Vidhi, or the direction of the Shastra, is given to different castes and orders of human society. Everyone is expected to follow these rules and regulations. If one does not follow them and acts whimsically according to his lust, greed and desire, then he will never be perfect in his life. In other words, a man may theoretically know all these things, but if he does not apply them in his own life, then he is to be known as the lowest of the mankind. in human form of life, a living entity is expected to be sane and to follow the regulations given for elevating his life to the highest platform. But if he does not follow them, then he degrades himself. So that is why Shastra is there. Shastra is there, Shastra Vidhi is there, that is to give us a guidance, give us the direction so that how we can conduct ourselves actually. So we don't know, oh, what can I do? I don't know what to do. No, Shastra is there. That is why Shastra is there. Sometimes, sometimes sadhu may not be there. Shastra is there. Prabhupada is there. Prabhupada's words are there. Prabhupada's lectures are there. All the teachings are there. But are you ready to take advantage? That is the question. So this is what, so Shastra Vidhi, and the next sloka only Krishna says, Tasmat Shastram Pramanam te Karya Vyavastito Jnatva Shastra Vidanoktam Karma Kartum Iharhasi. One should therefore understand what is duty and what is not duty by the regulations of the scriptures. Knowing such rules and regulations, one should act so that he may gradually be elevated. Shastra will tell what is to be done or what is not to be done. So that is why our focus should be like we have a 3-point formula. For anything, we have a 3-point formula. Sadhu, Shastra, Guru. You don't have to accept anything, say blindly, no, not like that. We have a sadhu there, and Shastra is also there, and also a final authority, Guru is also there. So you can, when somebody says something, we have to put into the test. What is the test? Sadhu, Shastra, Guru. Sadhu saying, Shastra, they all will reconcile. It's not a sadhu will say something, Shastra will say something, Guru will say something else. No, it's not like that. Most of the things, well, there may be some application-wise, there will be some differences will be the application only. Like somebody will say something, little bit, there is a application will be little bit differently. Srila Prabhupada did say to one person, you are a sannyasi, why are you staying in one place? You should go around. He looked at another sannyasi. Prabhupada said, you are a sannyasi, why you are going around? You have to stay in one place. Somebody hears from outside, what is this? One person is giving instruction, you should go around. Another person, because Prabhupada as a guru, he knows what is the mentality of this disciple or what is the mentality of that person and what he can do, what he can't do, what is good for him, accordingly prescription. He prescribes something according to the situation, person's situations. So that is Guru can do. We can't do that. So that is why we have all these instructions are there, all these teachings are there. So we can read them, we can understand them, we have to apply them in our life so that these situations will come. It's not that this type of situation, oh poor Archi or poor this one, poor Kunti Devi, poor Madri. No, everybody's life this will come. We all have to go through this situation. Ahani, bhutani. Every day this situation will come. So, in this situation, how we react, that is a real test actually. We may talk philosophy, may do this, all these things. But also we have to remember, we have to have the emotional aspect also we have to keep in mind. Or somebody, oh yeah, this fellow is lamenting, oh, he is not a student of Bhagavad Gita. No, not like that, because that lamentation will be there. Even great personalities lament. What to talk of us? Queen Archi, she also lamented. So all the great personalities also, but that lamentation will be momentary lamentation only. They are not going to sit there for yonks and keep on lamenting. They will continue with their duty. They will do activities which are going to be beneficial for the departed and also for themselves. Actually. So if that is done, then there is no problem. Or just we keep on lamenting for, then it is no good actually. That's why Srila Prabhupada in that sloka, I say, kinchit. There will be something will be there. Because we are all human beings, we all have hearts, we have emotions. So we are not like a dull stone or something. We have emotions. So like that we can do that, and ultimately we have to remember what is the purpose. The whole purpose is we have to elevate ourselves. So how, having come to this material world, how we are going to elevate it. That is why sadhus are there, shastras are there, and Guru is there, so that we can gradually elevate, and then we also have to go back to God. So that should be the final, our destination, not this here destination, there destination, or we have to go check out here, check out there. No, nothing. Final destination we have to go. So we'll stop here. If there is any questions or comments, please. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. I think I already know the answer, but I just want to check. So these women used to run into a fire alive.
Yeah.
Wow.
What is it? Sorry?
That's a lot. That's much like, that's, I can't even really think of any men who have the strength to do something like that. So when I imagine a woman running into a fire, it's bizarre.
Yeah, no, we may think anything actually. But Shastra says, because the reason is, as I said, for her, without because that is what, it's very hard, because when you feel the world vacant, Sunyaitam Jagat Sarvam, this is for Govinda, okay? But if you feel vacant the world, not for the wife or husband, okay? Sunyaitam Jagat Sarvam Govinda Viraha. In Govinda Viraha, I am feeling the world to be vacant actually. Same way, there is nothing wrong in husband attached to the wife attached to the husband, as long as they both are attached to Krishna. That is the bottom line, is that only. Because sometimes what happens is like so much not only even now, I've seen sometimes the newspapers, the wife passed away. Maybe the next, maybe a few hours, the husband got because it's not Saha Marana or something, just like enter into the fire. He gets a heart attack or something. Because this is like their life, like that they passed away. Many cases, not one or two, I'm not joking actually. Many cases, just like they passed away, and then morning she passed away, evening, so the same procession, everybody goes together actually. So, yes, it is in our situation, it is very difficult to understand or different to, because here we are situated in Kali Yuga, where they just, even before the death only, they are part and go away, run away, or whatever they do. But here, after the husband pass away, then wife enters. This is very hard. I rightly understand what you are saying. Yes, very hard. But why they did, and because this is the injunction, they didn't want to live. What is life without the husband? That is their mood actually. And here, when you see Queen Archie, they were elevated to the higher planetary system. Not only higher planetary, she went back to, actually Sakti Avaisha avatar. Prithu Maharaj is not an ordinary person anyway. And Archie is not ordinary lady or girl, not ordinary one. But still, they demonstrated this is the situation here. But at least in our circumstances, that is why it's not like a Prabhupada not recommending everybody, this is what you have to do, but at least we have to dedicate our life in the service of the Lord. That's why we see so many people come to Vrindavan, so many widows, and they don't want to have any attachment to the family. So just to spend the rest of the life in remembering the Lord and then lead the life. Because this is the system. And they were looked after. But if we do that, then they also go to the same planetary system where the husband is. Say like Archie is going to the same planet, Vaikunta. She is also going to, anyway they belong to Vaikunta only anyway. But so they went to Vaikunta. So that's why from our calculation this may all seem like weird or bizarre or this or that, anything we can think. But Shastra says that. Shastra has done that. Shastra has demonstrated that. But whether it is today's situation, it is applicable or not, that's already Srila Prabhupada answered. Because it was forced upon them, that is why they had to put a law, they had to put a clause, they had to put a if, and they had to put a but, and saying that it's not done now. Now, if somebody does that, it's a kind of illegal, or legality will come into the picture. But otherwise, it's the Prabhupada said, even 50 years ago it happened. When Prabhupada wrote this. So it's not like we have to take it. From our point of view, it's very difficult to appreciate that. But Shastra, that's what Shastra recommends that. And the person who does that, and he goes to the same planetary system where the husband is. And the husband, obviously, if he's a devotee, he will go back to Vaikunta, then he will also go back to Vaikunta. Why is that to come back to this material world and check out all this here? No? There is no need for her, actually. Yes?
So they can continue their relationship on another planet?
Sorry?
So will they continue their relationship on another planet? Let's say they both went to a heavenly planet.
Yeah, because this is like if you can go to they are going to Vaikunta, and then Vaikunta also they will serve the Lord. So there is nothing, the service doesn't stop. As husband and wife, they were serving here in the material world, and then they go to the Vaikunta or whichever higher planetary system, they will serve the Lord in that capacity. Service continues actually. If we have developed that mood, they develop that service attitude here, see that only binds actually. What is the binding between husband and wife? Because of service actually. Initially it may be something, but like Dhruva Maharaj, initially he started with something. He wanted something bigger than for kingdom, bigger than a father's kingdom, grandfather's kingdom. But when he engaged in devotional service, he completely forgot about everything. I don't want anything. I just looking for a broken pieces of glass. I got the jewel of your association. I don't want it. Same way, marriage life, maybe we may start with Romeo, Juliet, something we start our marriage life. But when you come into the situation, then we perform devotional service, you understand there is much more. The attraction between man and woman is there. But when you perform devotional service, you understand this is all beyond all these things. Then you go beyond all these things, then you serve the Lord. That is your priority. And then that is then in that mood, if you pass away and somebody comes with you also, then they will all go back to Godhead only. Where else they will go? If that mood is there, then there is nowhere else, no return back here.
So I get the going back to Godhead with the person that you was with. What about if they went to a heavenly planet still in this material world?
Yeah.
Do they also continue a relationship?
That is why it is mentioned that karmana daiva netrena. See, karmana daiva netrena jantur deha upapaddaye. According to the karma, according to daiva netra, whatever, that will happen. See, for pure the devotees, so they will go back home, back to Godhead. For other there are other personalities, the karma will decide whatever karma, whatever activities. That is why Krishna says in 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Suchinam Srimatam Gehe Yoga Brashta Bijayate. So the person, he will take birth in a pious aristocratic family, from there he will continue, whether in a higher planetary system or lower planet, whatever planetary system will go, from there they will continue their business. So that is the way Shastra says it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, because I was trying to make sense out of it because of the new age spiritual understanding at the moment.
New age, this is all like anything you can say, new age, old age, but the problem is, our thing has to tally with Sadhu Shastra Guru. Then it's, because otherwise, today we will say something, tomorrow you will put another law, the day after tomorrow another law, they will keep on modifying something. But if you depend on the Sadhu Shastra Guru, then we will never go wrong actually. We'll never go wrong, because this is the way. This is the way. It's like it's been tested. It has been working for youngs, and it will work for youngs also. It will work.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
This mentality of Hiranyakashipu being very learned and speaking very nicely, I feel that I do the same. Where I speak so much nice things, philosophy I know, but then my actions don't demonstrate that.
I think you are talking about somebody else actually, not you.
So
your actions always demonstrate what you are doing, and whatever thinking, feeling, willing, everything is same only. Yeah, please tell me.
So it seems, you become a hypocrite. So how to avoid this hypocrisy in oneself?
Yeah, it's putting the philosophy into practice. This Prabhu is asking the question for all of us actually. When sometimes we hear a philosophy, and then when we apply in our life, so it's not like a lip service, just like hear the philosophy. So we have to, we may learn only one thing and we have to put that into practice, the abhyasa. That's why they say, sometimes we know we are not this body, we are spirit, soul. Sometimes people think, oh Prabhu, 20 years ago I came to the class, you are telling the same thing, and after 20 years still you are saying the same thing only. Yeah, I am telling the same thing because you have not understood that. If you understood you are not this body, you are spirit, soul, then your activity should reflect upon that actually. If it's not reflecting upon that, then we have to ask the question, this is a test. Acid test, why it's not happening? So then we have to. So this constant refinement, constant test going on within us, it's going on. We have to go on. That's why sometimes we are calling ourselves devotees. Sometimes non-Krishna conscious thoughts will come also. Not that we are completely Paramahamsa state. Sukadeva Goswami go in the street, nothing is visible. Everything is visible to us, and we are seeing everything. But we have to constantly remind us, yes, what is the teachings of Prabhupada? What is this? What is that? Then we I am not this body, I am spirit, soul. I am representing Prabhupada or representing the Guru Parampara, whatever. And then my thoughts, is it supposed to go? So we have to keep on. It's like it is difficult. It's not like immediately, now I got initiated, I have done this, I have done that. Now immediately I am completely immune to all these things. It doesn't work like that. It has to go constant. This is a constant fight, constant tug of war going inside also. For everyone, I'm not talking everyone, everywhere, every time it is going on. Until we become completely pure, devout, 24/7. They say 24/7. 24/7 we remember Krishna, then that problem will be there. So we have to somehow or other put ourselves in a we should never think that I'm beyond reproach. So there's another thing. Sometimes if you think I am beyond reproach, nobody has to correct me, I am like a crossed, then that's it. That person will definitely fall down. Why? Because we consider ourselves like I am beyond any reprimand or beyond any correction. That means there is you will not be able to rectify yourself actually. So that way, we have to have that humility. Yes, if somebody comes and says something, maybe Krishna is speaking, Krishna is trying to give me some direction, give me some guidance, like this. So we have to take it like that. So, and we have any situation comes, again the same Sadhu Shastra Guru, we have Sadhus are there, Shastras are there, and somebody you can take Dadadi Prahignati, Guhyam Akyati Prichati, Bunjay Bhojayate Saiva, Sadviti Priti Lakshanam. So we can reveal our mind and gets things clarified, or this is Prabhu, this is going like that, Mataji, this is going like that, blah, blah, blah. So then we can, is it the right understanding? We have a big association of devotees are there, big volume of books, and where we can get guidance, and ultimately Guru can guide us also. So this is what I can think of, Prabhu. Sorry.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, ma. Without Sivia's question, the class is not complete. I am not going to stop the class. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you for the nice class. You were saying if we act according to Krishna's instructions, we won't get entangled.
Yeah.
But we see in the pastime of the gopis, Krishna told them to go home, but they didn't listen to him.
Yeah.
And in the pastime of the wives of the Brahmanas, Krishna ultimately convinced them to go back home, and they went back home.
Yeah.
So how do we
understand that?
How are the gopis the dearest devotees of the Lord?
Yeah. So sometimes Sivya is she will become a big Bhagavatam exponent actually. Already she is, but yeah, this is all very interesting observations in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Yes. Sometimes, everybody worships Krishna, somebody chastises Krishna, and Krishna becomes happy. Mother, see, now how will you understand this? Everybody is putting garland to Krishna, Mother Yasoda putting a rope around him and then wants to beat Krishna, and Krishna becomes more happy than the Vedic hymns. How do we understand that? Yeah, that same way, yeah, Krishna gives this instruction, Krishna gives go back. But also, Krishna gave them the blessing that even if you go back, that the so-called husband, so-called family member, they will never be unhappy with you. See, that is Krishna's. And also same thing, when the wives of Vedic Yagic Brahmanas, they went, what did the Yagic Brahmanas? Hell with our education, hell with our all the knowledge, all these things. When Krishna came personally and asked for something, we didn't recognize, but our wives were very intelligent. They did the right thing. So then they glorified. So that way, Krishna has a way of fulfilling the desire, and also Krishna will do things in such a way that you don't get into trouble also. So that is Krishna, that Krishna can do. Not I can't do, you can't do, they can't do. Krishna can do that way in such a way that you went for Krishna, and then Krishna looks after. That is why Krishna, this is somebody surrenders to Krishna, Krishna will completely look after. Completely. That's why gopis are a great example. Yes. So by disobeying Krishna, they pleased Krishna. The Vedic Yagic Brahmanas also, Brahmana wives, so they also displeased the husband. They were not pleased, but they pleased Krishna. Then Krishna asked them to go. Apparently, after some time they went, and then they realized also that husbands were all glorifying them, and husbands are also glorifying Krishna. So this is a wonderful way Krishna reciprocates with his devotees. Yeah. Anything else? Hare Krishna, you have any questions, Prabhus? Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you.